administration has certainly been in rebellion as it relates to Israel. You know, when Benjamin Netanyahu tried to come over here, well, he came over here and was warning us about this Iranian nuke deal. And Obama didn't even go to the congressional speech. And Nancy Pelosi turns her back on him. They were talking about that when I was in Israel last week. And I can tell you, I never found one person that has confidence in President Obama in Israel. I mean, not one. I couldn't find one. So I start to wonder.
I can't find anyone in the U.S.
It's getting bad, isn't it?
No, I think it's disgusting. What really shocks deal with Obama directly. What I mean by that is everybody criticizes the making. They're not paying attention to his agenda.
Yes.
Obama it's not that he's being stupid. He is following his agenda. We have to understand what his agenda is. And his agenda is the destruction of America.
It is, really.
And no one talks about it that openly.
No.
But it's been published. The Clowen-Piven strategy has been published. He's following the agenda. And everybody attributes his moves as being stupid. No, you need to understand his agenda.
Yes.
And his agenda is adverse to the interests of the United States.
Let me ask you a question, Dr. Missler, and that is, President
By the way, it's Chuck here.
Okay,
it's
Chuck. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It's Dr. If you're mad at me, it's Dr. Missler. No.
I believe in having respect.
Just Chuck.
I have respect for a man of God like you. So, Chuck, let me ask you this question also, and that is, now President Barack Obama has called for Benjamin Netanyahu to come to Washington. He is scheduling to meet with him on November the 9th. That, of course, is 9/11 backwards, but more importantly, it's the night of the broken glass. What is, I mean, to me, that's another slap in the face. Why would you now want to meet? And I'm going to ask you more about what you think the ramification of that's going to be. I think we're already seeing what the ramp right now is. All of this is, why in the world would you invite him? Now you're ready to talk to him. The night of the broken glass.
I have no idea. I can't rationalize those moves. I do notice, strangely, that most of Obama's scheduling, speeches and timing and so forth, seems orchestrated in terms of Freemasonry.
Wow.
It's really quite surprising. I never noticed that before. Tom Horn has published some things about it.
Yep.
Polytheism and all that.
Right.
But he seems to, he's done his homework. It's amazing to sense behind the scenes these things being orchestrated in Freemasonry terms.
Wow.
And I don't know what to make of that, but I think it's rather provocative.
But isn't it?
His inauguration, everybody remembers those Greek columns and things that were installed for his inauguration. Those were not Greek columns. Those were a replica of Nuremberg, where Hitler made his declaration. And Tom Horn has published on that rather provocatively. He's the only one, I think, that's noticed that. But he makes a real deal of that.
You speak of Nuremberg. Also, Obama did go to Germany maybe 2 or 3 years ago and gave a speech or spoke.
Sure.
So,
There's a strange orchestration of some of Obama's moves in terms of Freemasonry milestones.
This is really weird, but I know that he seems to be totally catering to the Islamic world. He constantly puts down the Jews and Christians, by the way. He's lectured us more times than I can stand. And so it's kind of weird. It's like, is he following Freemason? Is he following Islam?
Seems that way. Strangely enough, it seems that way.
He follows like it's like he's going into he's following Freemasons, Islamic, and basically the Illuminati. It's sort of like the Illuminati and the radical Islamist groups are just coming together. Is this part of the formation of the New World Order or the One World Government?
It seems to be orchestrated in that direction. That's one banner. Yeah, that's worth watching because it really pulls a lot of this stuff together.
Really, the agenda. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to watch that.
Agenda. It's called The Agenda, a documentary, and it summarizes the whole move to the left, the the center. Yeah.
Chuck, you were involved, of course, with missile delivery systems. I mean, and today the Iranians confirmed that they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile, which is in violation of this new Iranian nuke deal. They're not supposed to be testing off these intercontinental ballistic missiles. Can you help us understand, can a warhead be put on an intercontinental ballistic missile? Is it easily done, or is it, can you help us understand the threat here?
Oh, no, that's a very sophisticated process.
Okay.
And so that's a non-trivial achievement, and we need to understand that.
Okay.
That you're dealing with a highly specialized technology there. Absolutely.
How close is Iran in your capability that they could launch?
Well, I don't know. I have no inside word there. Nothing would surprise me. I think they're far more capable than we give them credit for, and they have an agenda, and they have an agenda too. And that agenda terrifies not just Israel; it terrifies Saudi Arabia.
Right.
You need to realize when you start talking about these issues, you need to be sensitive to the Sunni Shiite warfare that for 1,400 years has been a war going on inside the House of Islam. And the Shiites have abused ones, and they're anxious to be able to get revenge for the way they've been treated. The common belief is that 80% of Islam is Sunni and 20% is Shiite. That's nonsense, because the Shiites are not counted in Sunni countries. They've been the outcasts within the Saudi Arabia, and the Sunnis are nervous as they find the Shiites having access to nuclear weapons. Sunni hatred is, if you start talking about Islam, you need to be in all of that. Right. And remember that Obama is a practicing Sunni Muslim.
Yes, he is.
And so Americans are shocked by that. They haven't done their homework.
They haven't done it.
It's no secret.
Hey, we know he's a Sunni. I mean, there's no Sunni Muslim, but he is embracing the Shiites of Iran. Is that because he doesn't? It's because he wants to help them destroy Israel, or is this part of the process of destroying America's in?
It's part of his agenda, I assume, and so I don't know how to deal. I think we're going to have the most interesting of our history coming up next year.
Okay. And what?
I think we've got it's going to be very interesting to see if someone can turn this country around.
Amen. This is.
Oh, I think it's the last chance. There's a debate going on as to whether it's too late already. There are many people that are too late. There's others that think it's probably the American people are waiting. The thing that we grew up in seeing is a serious one.
Let me ask.
And there's a legitimate debate going on as to whether it's too late already.
It might be. It might be. And I'm going to come back to that question in a minute. Let me add some troops to Syria. That was just first, and then he came, of course, to America.
Breaking up for some reason.
Am I breaking up? Might be my internet connection might be a little weak here. I'm sorry. I'm in Canada, actually. I'm scheduled. What's significant?
I lost your audio.
Are you there, Chuck?
I've lost your audio there. You were blank.
The United States Congress and the United Nations. What do you think was the agenda?
The situation with the Pope it requires some hope we've had in history, and the implications of that are a whole other discussion. There's been very substantial books written on this by Tom Horn and Chris Putnam. 3 books, and the one, the Exo Vaticana, really gets into that, and I'm not a competent alternative on that. They've spent energy focusing on that. I'm not a expert on trying to understand the Vatican and its maneuvers.
All right, that's fair. When we talk about the Iranian nuke deal, I want to go back to it. Where the 6 superpowers come together to do this deal. I mean, everybody ignored Israel. They just ignored them. They didn't let them in the discussion. They wouldn't even meet with them. How in the world could these 6 superpowers come together on something this sophisticated, yet we can't hardly talk to each other on common things? What do you?
They always do. They did the Oslo Accord. They do not involve Israel as a party. It's ridiculous. It's just part of the charade that's going on that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, and because it seems like Israel was formed, and we know it was prophesied that the rebirth of Israel would happen, and we know that's in biblical prophecy. And so after the Holocaust, everybody kind of said, from the very moment, May 14th, 1948, it was like almost the next day, Israel starts getting attacked and had to fight for 15 months just to barely survive, just to barely hang on. They've been in a constant state of war and a threat for the entire 67 years they've been in existence.
Yeah, no surprise.
Will it ever change, or is it just going to be the way it will be until the coming of the Lord?
Well, no, I think there's going to be, if we understand Psalm 83,
yeah,
I think that's going to be a huge positive for them. In fact, may even set the stage for Ezekiel 38 and 39. But that's speculation. That's speculation.
Do you think Psalms 83, I know it says that these nations will come together and they will form a confederacy against Israel. Do you think that's an agreement, or do you think that's an actual attack or war?
Well, probably both.
Probably both, yeah. And is that part of what this Iranian nuke deal was? I've had people say to me they think that the Iranian nuke deal was actually the formation of the nations coming against Israel in Psalms 83.
Well, they may. I don't see it that way. And I think that we tend to get very sloppy with respect to when we start talking about prophecy. I think there's a requirement to be precise, precise in terms and so forth. And we tend to speak of the Antichrist signing a treaty. It doesn't say that. It says he affirms a covenant. That's not the same thing.
Right.
And it may be, and so that gets into a whole other technical discussion. But I argue for a very high hermeneutic. I think we should be very, very precise in our use of terms. I don't think 2 words can be synonymous. They may appear synonymous in being almost the same thing, but watch out for that almost, because in the gap between them can be a nugget hidden away. And so I'm a real advocate for precision in your hermeneutics if you're going to get into a serious study of these.
Let me ask you a question, and that's good advice, great advice, actually. And